Hey, what is up guys, it's your boy Twa here. As you might have noticed, there's another sneak peek coming up with 3 characters that will be either reworked, buffed, nerfed, or whatever, but they are gonna work on them in the newest patch within a week. So let's talk about them. But before talking about them, if you can see in the back, there's absolutely nothing on my wall anymore in terms of hats, which means that I'm practically done with the moving part. Only the 22nd is the time where the internet starts working at my new apartment, which means that I'll be moving at that point. So without further ado, let's get into the content. First and foremost, there will be 3 characters that will be changed: Jane, Scarlet, and Yuria. Now I know one person is definitely happy about it, which is Janesraid, which is in my opinion, a Jane attack main. And honestly, I'm very much looking forward to seeing any footage from this dude. He will be starting up his own channel pretty soon. I'll link his stuff down into the description, so show the dude some love. But in terms of text, as more heroes have been released throughout time, our heroes have been able to perform well in different contents as the game, and as a result, Jane has list contents in which she could show off her performance, which is true. Therefore, we will be strengthening her wide area debuff effects, and we will be improving her so that she can become more specialized in wide area combats. Now, this in itself is starting to become interesting because we don't have many things that can allow her to do that. One thing in particular that would be good would be Ocelon, right? I honestly think that she would be able to shine over there, but let's think about it clip for a second. Now, she's on one of my teams and she does pretty well, but then again, could she do even better? That would be quite nice. But the question is, PvP is also AoE. Could we see her with the similar buff that Philip actually received, where the S3 is undispellable? Because if that is the case, ladies and gentlemen, Jane will become absolutely broken, right? Like, her damage will be off the charts, and I'm very much looking forward to that stuff. Or maybe not. I don't know, but it sounds crazy. But one thing, Jane's attacks and skill effects will be clearer than before. Hopefully this with the League of Honor skin will make it very bright, very useful. And the illustration has been changed. But next up, and I'm not even sure if I'm gonna build this, but Scarlet is gonna receive something of a rework. I'm hoping it's a buff, but Chase X Scarlet, it might be a thing, ladies and gentlemen. I still have my 5-star unique weapon, and put it down into the comments and tell me if you guys think that I should be using that on her. But what it says, Scarlet, who was released as a PvP specialized hero, was not able to perform as she was supposed to the new heroes were added to the game. Now, not necessarily the new heroes, but with the addition of Shockman Helmet, she became quite obsolete because you can only do her skill S2 once unless you do something like Casual Gamer and run Audi with it and do it twice in a row. Like, that stuff is mad bonkers. We have selected her as she lacked individual characteristic compared to the other warrior heroes. True. Therefore, we will be leaving her core skill, the S2, unchanged. Okay, it would be actually interesting if they would reduce the cooldown by a little bit. And Halt SO1, Skill of Honor, and the third skill will be improved drastically. And we will be improving Scarlet's soul weapon in a way it can show off better the characteristics of the hero when using the item. Okay, so S1, S3, and the soul weapon will be added. Scarlet motion and skill effect will be changed. As for her skills, the SO1, frontal damage enemies, knockdown, and if the target is not a hero, guess what? You'll be receiving HP back. Looks like this, and probably they will change this skill up all the way. I think we're looking at something that could be some mana drain, because that is the general tendency that we are seeing right now. But I'm not quite sure. The 3 mana bars that it takes for you to cast this skill is ridiculous. As for the S2, which is currently the bread and butter, gives you a dispel negative effects all allies and dispel positive effects of all enemies. My god, this skill is ridiculous. As for the S3, attacks enemy 3 times and it blinds for 5 seconds. Looks like this, and currently this thing is dispellable. Now, what I would like to see from this one might be an undispellable, but I'm not quite sure what we are going to find with this one. If the whole kit has a pull-in, my dear lord, it will be absolutely crazy, but that will be wishful thinking. Now, as for the perks, I absolutely have no clue what they're gonna do to this, but I'm mad curious how they are going to increase her. Last one is Yuria, and funny enough, two of these are PvP characters, ladies and gentlemen. Are we looking forward to something more interesting on the PvP ladders? Are we actually gonna get real tournaments? I don't quite know. I hope so. Not that I am in any shape or form capable of beating the top ranked players, but it is definitely an interesting thing. Without speculating, let's get to Yuria. Yuria was a hero that was actively used in PvP content, but the conditions to use it were complicated and she was easily defeated by her enemies, aka she needed to use the shield first, as the S2, then S3, then S1 to blow everybody up. But nowadays the fights are kind of on the short duration, so the times where you could actually do that or still get dispelled along the way made it so that she fell off the bandwagon. Therefore, we will be making improvements to make Yuria more intimidating. I don't like that. And we will be easing the conditions to her use. Interesting. We will also be improving her PvE performances of Yuria. And this is quite interesting because I've seen some people that used Yuria as a World Boss 3 character, knowing that she has some defense ignore. Be interesting. She could be used widely in some of the contents, unlike some other heroes. Through these improvements, we plan to improve Yuria so that she can be used widely in different kinds of content. Now, she's one of the characters that can also do Trial of Sky, but does take a very selective team to really perform it. So would it then make it easier for her to perform? We've seen the Greenery buff that turned Greenery from unable to clear the Trial of Sky into one of the best ones. So I'm actually mad curious on what this is going to be for Yuria. Next up, we got wedding swimsuit concert. What? What? This is no swimsuit. This is lingerie, baby. What the? It looks gorgeous though, but all I'm wondering about. So Lucikel, what? Demiel, Lavril, Aisha, Kersey, Hilda, and Artemia. So this is all for the ladies. All I'm hoping for though is, do we get the 3% extra gold buff? Because then I have 8 more costumes that I want to get, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy. One thing I do want to address though, and that is the League of Fortune. I swear to God, I've been mad as hell playing this because it makes no sense in terms of content, and it will be not played after like anybody gets up to 300, or you want to have this #1 headband for an $80 package. And I don't get it. Like, it seems interesting to a certain degree, but I would like to suggest several improvements to make this more interesting. So if you're ready to duel, you only get one team to select from. What I'd like to suggest is that you can actually select from 3 different teams, which means that there's a rock paper scissors involved as well, because you can see the enemy team as well. This makes it more interesting to see which team is actually gonna perform better than the other, and you don't know what the enemy is gonna pick. Obviously there's some teams that are better than the other, but this way it allows you to play this at least a little bit better, instead of just trying once again, get no real teams and just face Baldwins all day and get mad as hell while doing so. I genuinely do not like this mode, and guess what? I just lost once again because maybe I'm just bad. I don't know, man. Another suggestion that would be interesting is if you can actually change this party list, but not the heroes. What I'd like to change are the T perks, or at least the gear that people are using. Maybe even some artifacts that you can be using throughout everything. This way you can make teams where you don't necessarily have a tank, but you do have the capacity to allow them to tank. Like this. The enemy has no tank. Reheat, no tanking capacity at all, except for his T5. But here's the thing, we're just gonna blow the whole damn team up. It's no problem. So here we go, watch the show. Reheat is already dead. It takes it 7 seconds to do whatever. Now we can just laser beam everything that is. Like, it's just not interesting, people. It's just not interesting. Whereas if you can make this dude just a little bit tankier, he might be able to do a little bit better. So that is it for the sneak peek. Let me know what you guys think about these 3 heroes and what you guys would like to see in terms of changes. But that is it for now. If you haven't already, make sure to like and sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one.